Hey there, gaming buff! Welcome back to Mr. Whiskers Gaming, your go-to source for in-depth gaming content. Have you ever felt the sting of regret after purchasing a game that didn't live up to your expectations? Well, worry not, because I'm here to help you make informed decisions before you make that purchase. Today, I'm gonna dive into the world of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. I'll be sharing my detailed review to help you decide whether this game is worth adding to your collection. From its visual aesthetics to its combat mechanics, I'll cover it all. So, stick around till the end as I share my experiences and opinions on this game. Without further ado, let's jump right in and explore the world of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Well, before I spill the beans about this game, I need to mention that when you're sharing a review, it's important to keep a delicate balance. I mean, you need to assess a game for what it truly is, rather than projecting your own desires onto it. Despite some hoping for a game reminiscent of Rocksteady's Batman Arkham series, it's unjust to critique Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League for not fulfilling those desires. Instead, it should be analyzed for what it truly is: a game-as-a-service looter shooter featuring a diverse cast of DC Comics characters. Players traverse a city, engage in alien combat, collect gear, and repeat. However, the verdict is in, and it appears this game falls short of expectations. In Suicide Squad, teams of 1 to 4 players embody the notorious DC Comics characters Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang. Similar to Crystal Dynamics' Avengers and WB Montreal's Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad offers an open-world experience filled with various elements like afflictions, boosts, and shield harvesting, alongside vibrant resources. It places a strong emphasis on the pursuit of increasingly powerful loot, such as firearms, shields, and melee weapons, all geared towards extending your gameplay experience, particularly in the long run. The game is upfront about its intention to engage players for an extended period, with a focus on providing ongoing content and challenges to maintain player interest. The game captures the essence of the Suicide Squad with its witty banter and camaraderie, mirroring the tone of previous Suicide Squad narratives. It embraces its aggressively violent, irreverent, and humorously foolish nature, fitting for this ragtag group of expendable villains tasked with neutralizing Brainiac's threat using drones modeled after the world's greatest heroes. The voice cast, particularly Samoa Joe as King Shark, delivers standout performances, potentially marking a successful transition to acting for Joe. While the characters shine, there are spoiler-filled moments that feel disjointed, considering the monumental task they face. At times, I wished for more interaction with the Justice League, now turned to villains, but the game rushes through these encounters, detracting from their impact. This tendency serves as a reminder that, in this genre, the narrative often serves as a mere backdrop. While traces of Rocksteady's brilliance remain, the execution of Killing the Justice League lacks the epic saga feel it should possess. I would have anticipated the Justice League to be inherently captivating as villains, given the way the concept turns its typical portrayal on its head. Yet they often come across as one-dimensional, like Batman or Superman, or cliched such as The Flash or Green Lantern. The notion of Superman losing control and turning against everyone presents a fascinating opportunity to delve into the character from a fresh perspective, but for some reason, Rocksteady didn't seize it. As for Batman, his portrayal feels like a disappointing departure, considering Rocksteady's extensive efforts in shaping his character throughout the Arkham games. This version trades the depth and decades of characterization for a simplistic cartoon villain, with an unsatisfactory conclusion to his narrative arc. Regarding Green Lantern, the game leans heavily into the space cop archetype, which feels like a superficial take on a character driven by the power of his own will. I found it surprisingly easy to overlook the supposed stakes of the Suicide Squad's actions, as the portrayal of the heroes turned villains did little to reinforce their significance. The goal of the Suicide Squad's combat and traversal mechanics is to create a seamless, stylish, and empowering experience for players. However, it falls short due to various issues, including limitations on traversal items, and enemy weaknesses that make combat feel like a struggle against in-game systems, rather than a fluid engagement. Combat encounters often become chaotic and frustrating due to enemies with specific weaknesses, requiring players to employ various strategies such as status effects, counters, critical hits, grenades, or boosted attacks. This variety can overwhelm players, especially when missions throw multiple enemy types at them simultaneously, leaving them without effective solutions at times. Enemies requiring precise counters introduce a quick-time event-like mechanic, which proves unreliable, particularly when countering from a distance, resulting in missed shots and unnecessary damage. Similarly, the shield harvesting mechanic, which involves defeating enemies to heal, is hindered by inconsistencies, such as difficulty in priming enemies for harvesting by shooting them in the legs, leading to wasted ammo and no benefits. Guns of different classes and qualities are distinguishable at a glance. While a weapon's inherent traits can be considered for specific builds or adjusted to match your playstyle, the core classes like pistols, SMGs, snipers, and others each offer distinct preferences, encouraging players to focus on customizing or crafting guns within their preferred classes. I mainly played as Harley and grew accustomed to her proficiency with SMGs, but I also enjoyed switching to Deadshot for his reliable and impactful sniping abilities. Suicide Squad doesn't aspire to emulate Spider-Man, but rather seems to draw inspiration from Sunset Overdrive, yet falls short in achieving that standard as well. Despite its foundational movement tools, which have their flaws, they cannot be upgraded in any meaningful way. This results in moments where, for instance, instead of executing a stylish takedown of enemies, I may unexpectedly plummet below skyscraper rooftops, forcing me to backtrack and regain the high ground, simply because Boomerang's Speed Force charges have run out. The lack of improvement options for these gameplay features led me to accept that the fluidity I desired was unattainable. The absence of character growth beyond mere upgrades leaves much to be desired and is ultimately unsatisfying. Furthermore, with only one type of side activity available between main missions, the open-world cityscape lacks personality. The game not only fails to provide fulfilling traversal mechanics, but the time spent on solid ground is also unremarkable. Metropolis is depicted as a towering city overrun with purple, where landmarks are nearly non-existent. Despite investing over 30 hours of gameplay, I struggle to recall any noteworthy sights within the city. The entire world feels reduced to mere platforms for me to leap off of in order to regain flight. One of the game's major drawbacks is the excessive visual clutter that constantly inundates the screen. Never before have I encountered such a chaotic display of meters, prompts, effects, and data in a single game. It seems as though the game lacks optimization, as certain elements, such as ability cooldown indicators, disproportionately occupy screen space and could have benefited from refinement. Throughout my time with the game, I encountered persistent server issues, including crashes that occurred after completing a mission, which meant having to replay it again to regain lost progress. There were also times when I tried to log in, but the game wasn't online, making it unplayable. However, like any looter shooter, the game doesn't feel like it truly begins until the all-important in-game. Despite the aforementioned grievances with Suicide Squad, I must acknowledge that the in-game loot chase is robust and well-developed. In the 9 years since Rocksteady's last game, I've noticed a dramatic shift in the superhero genre within video games. We've moved away from the story-driven solo experiences reminiscent of comic books to the multiplayer loot-obsessed open worlds of today. With Rocksteady's return to tell a new story in the superhero world, I expected them to adapt to this changing landscape, and they do better than their predecessors in this endeavor. However, despite their efforts, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League falls short of the quality I know this studio is capable of. It's true that it stands as the best example of merging heroes and loot grinds so far, but that's not saying much. The repetitive mission structure, cluttered visuals, server issues, and frequent hindrances in combat and movement detract from the overall experience. While I acknowledge the progress made in adapting to the current gaming landscape, it's evident that being the best doesn't necessarily mean being good. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the world of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I trust my detailed analysis of this game has been instrumental in guiding your decision. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this review and your personal experience with the game. If you appreciate this content and crave more in-depth reviews, walkthroughs, and gaming insights, remember to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. By subscribing to Mr. Whiskers Gaming, you'll remain at the forefront of the latest gaming news, reviews, and tips. Your support is appreciated, and until next time, may your gaming adventures be nothing short of epic. Meow for now.
Time for us bad guys.